You attract more people when you're living your life centering you and having a good time. You can't make decisions for the future that really are in your control. What's up, guys? Welcome to my channel. Sheba Israel here. If you're new to the channel, hello and welcome. And if you're an OG subscriber, what's good? Welcome back. A while ago, I did a video on basically why you should decenter men. We really just talking about it from that angle. But today, I want to get into how you can decenter men, because I gave you the why, but I gotta give you the how. What are you supposed to do from here? Knowing you need to decenter men is one thing. How to decenter men is a whole nother thing. So I think I mentioned in the first video I did where I started with decentering men. I was 26. I was out with my friends and I looked around and said, you know what? You have spent all day paying attention to who's paying attention to you and not enjoying the time you were having. And I judged myself hard for that, y'all. Like, I really sat there and was like, I'll never think like this again. Like, when it really hit me, because I paused. It was my automatic, just way of thinking. And I paused and I said, girl, you done met some amazing people today. You're with your friends. You not paying attention to the time that she was having. No, you are totally outward based, paying attention to who's paying attention to you. Girl, what? You done wasted a whole 24 hours of your life. Not just your day, your life wasted on who was paying attention to you instead of what type of time are you having. Never again. Never again. I want to feel like my grandma. My grandma is in her early to mid 90s at this point. And I asked her when I took her to the doctor a couple months ago, I said, Grandma, what was your favorite year of life? And she told me all of them. She's lived a life. And I want to feel that way too. And you're not going to feel that way if you're centering men. Honestly, if you're centering anything outside of yourself, you're just not going to be able to get to 93, 94, 95 and be able to say that. But anyways, the first step to decentering men is stop judging yourself. You're going to have that like aha moment. It'd be like that. But don't take it to the max in judging yourself and bringing yourself down, because you're only going to make things worse. Not only were you already having essentially insecure thoughts when it came to men, you're now downing yourself and having more insecure thoughts. Now, it's okay to acknowledge where you're at and be real with yourself, but you don't have to put yourself down for it. It's life. It happens. None of us are above it. Okay, myself included. We've all been male-centered. We've all been in situations that if you repeated it out loud to somebody else, you'd be like, did I really do that? It happens. Emotions make you not logical. Emotions and logic don't technically go together. You have to do a whole lot of self-work and regulation in order to tap into when you're going emotional and reel it back in so you can filter those emotions. So don't judge yourself too hard because you didn't know how to do that. Western society has taught us to make men the prize. We don't say men are the prize. We don't do that. But the actions and how we are told to behave, what we're told to do and not do, it's all for the purpose of patriarchy. Disney movies teach us you're asleep until your prince comes. We didn't start getting real liberal until like Mulan. We are taught in society that a woman is supposed to be rescued, saved. Your life begins when you get a man. So you don't need to be too harsh on yourself for having that mindset. It was given to you. It wasn't a choice. But once you know better, then you can go ahead and do better. And that takes a lot of courage to step away from what's been put into your subconscious as how things are supposed to work. It feels unsafe. And when you feel unsafe, your ego gets tapped. And when your ego gets tapped, your ego, which is really like your mindset, is just more like, nah, I gotta go with what I know. Because I don't wanna risk not being happy. I don't wanna risk going against the grain and something bad happens. Your ego gets a bad rep because most people aren't in control of your ego. But it is to keep you safe. And sometimes it can go overboard, again, when you're not in control. Get your ego in check so you can start to truly feel and put that energy out into the world that you do not need a man. You can want one. Men, like decentering men is not about hating men. It's really not. It's not about being anti-men. It's literally just about being pro you. So that looks like stop overanalyzing the things that he's saying to you. Don't be like, well, did he mean this or did he mean that? Or what if he said this? What if I said that? Well, how would he take that? Blah, blah, blah. No. Treat it the same way you talk to your regular friends. You don't overanalyze what you be saying to your friends. Don't get the man you dating that power neither. You want to make sure that you are actively always being yourself, because that's who you want to be liked. That's who you want to know if they like is you, the real you. Don't put on airs. Don't try to be something or be who you think they want you to be, because that's going to get old over time. You're not going to want to do that forever. You're going to end up getting tired and then being yourself. And what you gonna do if you don't like that? Now your self-esteem dropping even lower. So it's important to make sure that you are being yourself and you are going in accepting that that might not work for that person, and that's okay. You're just not my person. Sometimes a good person might just not be compatible with you too. They're a good person, they're just not your person. So don't let that bring you down either. Because a lot of women will meet a man who's just a good man, even though there's certain key factors that are very important to me that I'm not getting. Overall, this is a good man, let me stay here. You don't gotta do that neither. You wanna have a high enough self-esteem, a high enough self-confidence in yourself, and a love enough for yourself that if it's not your person, it's just not your person. Whether they're a good person, a bad person, whatever, if they're not for you, they're just not for you. Otherwise, you're gonna put yourself in a situation where you still resent somebody, or they end up resenting you. But back to the messaging part, if you gotta decode what he's saying, it's a no. It's a no. Now, I'm not gonna be definitive and say it's a no forever, but it's a no right now. And that's another topic, part 2. Don't be waiting for men. If it's a no right now, just keep it as that's what's happening. If down the line, later on, you're a different person, he's a different person, and those two people happen to align, okay, that's a different story. I don't actually think you can't spin the block or people can't change and be a new person. But if the person you are right now and the person he is right now don't go together, it don't go together. And you don't need to give it more thought past that. Otherwise, you're going to put yourself in a position of ruminating, and you don't want to do that either, because you might just hold yourself up as far as your personal self-growth and process. There might be key things you need to learn with other people that elevate you to become the person that's ready for that other person, and same for them as well. You just never know. So you got to take life as it comes. You can't make decisions for the future that really are in your control. The other thing is, start getting comfortable with no. And with putting your needs out there and being okay with protecting that. Become protective of you, not just protective of being liked. If you don't want to give your number out, by all means, take care of your safety, because that can go left. But you don't got to give your number out. Girl, give a fake number. I do it all the time. All the time. I don't even give out my real name half the time. You don't have to make it a big deal or declaration or risk your safety, but you can say no. There's nothing wrong with that. And if somebody doesn't like you because you had a boundary, then they weren't your person. You want to celebrate your wins regardless of if you have a man or not. I talked about this in the first video. I had a friend once who could not celebrate their wins at all or see their life as great because a man was missing. And you don't want to be that way. That's how you miss out on your life. That's how you get to 95 and you're not every year because I'm her. You can't do that if you're fretting over circumstances you can't control. You cannot control when you meet the right person. You just can't. You can't control when the right person for you is ready for you. You can't. You cannot control when you get a man. You just can't. You can make yourself available. You can do the things you can do to attract one, but you can't do anything to just make that happen for yourself. So why make everything worse by focusing on that? Love that about our society's post-millennialism, Gen Z. Now we're getting into Gen Alpha, even though they're still kids, little kids. But I love how we have set the tone, because I'm a younger millennial, I'm 30. So I love how we have set the tone, the ones before me, the ones my age, going forward, of getting into your life before you create life. Look at our parents or those who just were growing in the 90s or coming of age in the 90s. A lot of people were still getting married early. A lot of people still having kids mad early. And that's not a bad thing, because you get your 40s and stuff like that back. But the time you needed, when I look back at my 20s, there's no way I had room for a kid. There was so much I needed to unpack to be a healthy adult for myself that I'm just now getting to now that I'm 30. I couldn't have been a great parent. Going forward, not now, going forward later, I probably would be a good parent. But that's because I've now gone to therapy. I now worked on my issues. You want to make sure your life is about you first. Like, you want to learn you before you start incorporating other people that you have to also be considerate of. That's important to think about too before you start judging yourself and being like, oh my God, I don't have a family and kids. Is my life worthless? No. Enjoy your life. Your promotion is important. Your raise is important. You starting a business is important. Okay, all of your accomplishments that are just for you are important. And that brings me into my next tip, which is stop setting dating goals. You can't control that type of stuff. Goals are for things that you can control. That's not one of them. Set your standards, set your guidelines, set your values. You can't set goals. You just can't, because that's how you get caught up in your ego and you end up choosing the wrong person trying to set a goal. You said, no, I want to be married by next year. I'm having second guesses about this person, but I said I want to be married by next year. So we already here, let's go. That's where goals get you in dating. Standards get you the right partner. Values get you the right partner. Valuing yourself gets you the right partner. Getting clear on what are your non-negotiables and what are negotiable for you. That's what you want to do. Those are the tones you want to set, not goals. The goals will naturally hit when you pay attention to the rest of those guidelines you set. Where you want to set goals is for things that are totally on you. Things that are out of your control, like dating, being chose, like all those types of things. Nah, that's not for you to fret about because it's not a decision you can really make. And honestly, fretting about it gonna make it worse because now you're pushing out the energy of lack. And no one likes a person with the energy of lack. If you watch my magnetism video, if you haven't, you should. The energy of lack, the energy of you're not enough is repelling. So in doing that, you're also holding yourself back from the thing that you lack anyway. The next thing you want to do is make sure you making time for the people in your life, the people that fill your cup on a daily basis. Don't forget your platonic relationships, your hobbies, your passions, your goals. Don't forget about those things in effort to center a man. It actually makes you less desirable, to be quite honest. But that's not the point. That's not the point. When you value the platonic relationships in your life, you don't put up with as much. If I felt lonely, I would probably be more susceptible to putting up with a man that I didn't want to be with because I'm lonely. So I'm getting a cup filled of companionship. But because I have friendships, because I have good friendships around me and people I can spend time with, family, friends, all that, I don't gotta do that. It doesn't do anything for me. If I'm with someone I don't want to be around, I start thinking about like, dang, I'm wasting time when I could have been around people I wanted to be around. Make sure you're getting your cups filled on a platonic level first before you start getting into a romantic level, because that's going to help you set those standards and keep those standards. Hobbies and passions matter as well too. Are you working on something? Is there something that you enjoy that's just for you? Have some hobbies. Have some things that are for you. Have some things you don't need somebody else to be into. Pick things that you're passionate about. Start a book club. I'm starting a music style type of, it's not a book club, but it's essentially like that whole notion, but we're doing it with music. That's something I want to make a hobby, and that's something I'm already passionate about, and that has nothing to do with centering men. See how that works? Also, you need to remember that you're her. You are main character. You're not the supporting cast in your own story. You are the main character of your story. Make sure you're acting like it. Before you leave the house, make sure your outfit and everything, your hair and all that, looks like how you want it to look. That you feel like, yeah, I'm her, you feel confident when you leave the house. Don't think about outside opinions and what they're gonna think and all that. Think about you and what you like. What are you happy with? What's gonna exude confidence from you? Take me with the short hair now, for example. I didn't know it was gonna do what it did. I didn't know men were going to like it as much as they did. It just happened. It was a personal decision of, I like this. I feel confident in this. This makes me feel good. And it went from there. You don't wanna act like you don't care. You wanna actually not care. I say that as someone who's had my own growth journeys and stuff like that. Have my own insecurities. I'm not perfect. This is not a video where I'm saying I ain't never been this. I'm giving you advice because I've been this. Maybe not the worst kind, but I've been there. I have a few things. So let's move into signs that you are centering men, because some people might not even know they're doing it. And don't worry, this is a safe space. If you've done any of these things, you can keep it to yourself. I know I am. But it's real. It happens. We've grown though. It's fine. But I'm here to tell you, if you are dictating your outfit or the way that you look in order for the male gaze to fit, you might be a little male-centered. And that's not saying don't dress cute or don't think about it at all. But like, if you will hold change because you think the person you like don't like your outfit, I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. You might be male-centered. You are. You are male-centered. If you constantly find yourself changing who you are, what you look like, what you like and don't like, all of the things that make you you, if you're changing that to cater to the man you like, you are male-centered. If you cannot go out and have a good time without paying attention to what men are paying attention to you, you are male-centered. If your morals and values take a back seat, if it means you might get a man, you are male-centered. If you find yourself trying to decode and Google, you are distraught and also male-centered. A woman who's not male-centered is not giving that much to a man who's not giving her that much. And that's real. And it's real if you're not there yet. This is not a judgment video. It is real that people a lot of times are taught that they are not worthy of love, that they have to prove their worth. It's really not the norm that you just know that you're valuable. And so that's why I stick so hard to don't judge yourself if you fit these narratives, because it's real. But once you know better, you got to do better. And it's levels to it. You're not going to get it all right at once. It's going to be step by step by step until next thing you know, you're just focused on you and what works for your life and who you can work with in your life. You're not decoding what is he interested, or is he just, emotionally unavailable. If he's pulling that stuff with you, you can get to a point where it's just like, hey, regardless of how you got to where you got, it don't work for me. It's throwing me out of alignment, so I got to go. Wish you the best. Don't mean I gotta hate you, don't make you a bad person, but where you at in life is not helpful to where I'm at in life. You deserve a love that is not going to throw you out of alignment. You ultimately want to create a life you want to live in, regardless of if you have a man or not. You don't want your happiness in life to be based on that, because that's so unstable. You attract more people when you're living your life centering you and having a good time. So take yourself on a date, okay? Romanticize your life down to the mundane things. Everything in my life feels like a movie, feels like a TV show. I romanticize everything. I look at how, and I've been doing this for a minute since Insecure started, I've been looking at how like my life would match up to Issa's. Okay, when she was driving Lyft, I was doing DoorDash. I felt like we was in it together. And I think about particularly that show a lot as I get into my 30s, because I was in my 20s back then. So going into my 30s now, and that show being about in your 30s, it actually is even more, what's the word I'm looking for? Resonating for me now than it even was back then. And I look at my life that way. A lot of the things that just happen in my everyday life are the same type of stuff I would watch on the show. So why not romanticize every piece of my life? I make sure all of my life is interesting to me. It might not be interesting to other people, but I make sure it's interesting to me. And don't get me wrong, this is not me saying you don't want to do anything to attract a man, but it is to say you want to do anything that's just not you. That's not a representation of you. You want to be that the full way, whether that means you get accepted or rejected. If you're being yourself and you got rejected, that was protection. Or it was something to learn. I'm in it for my learning experience. And if it coincides with somebody else's learning experience, then perfect. That's great. That's what we want. But I don't typically regret people that I come across their experience, because there was something to learn, whether it went well or it went bad. There was something to learn. Okay, I don't like this. I do like that. Noted. That's how you learn things so you can figure out who is the type of right person for you. So I don't even look at loss as like a loss. It was something to gain. You want to remember that the most important relationship that you have is to yourself. You don't want to feel like you need someone to complete you. You want to feel complete on your own time. You just want people to be able to add to the time you already have it. If you gained something from this video, please drop a comment down below and let me know. If you have any tips you would like to share on how to decenter men, drop a comment down below and let the people know. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.